Welcome to America's Third Party, everyone. As you probably know, I am in favor of legalization of marijuana. I also believe that it is rather strange that our president, who claims he smoked crack cocaine in Occidental College when he was a college student, hasn't legalized marijuana. I mean, it's very strange, considering the experts have all stated that legalization would bring a lot of tax dollars into states all around the country. States like California would make $1 billion in tax revenue from legalization, but they just can't seem to pull it off. And I'll tell you something, even the marijuana growers out there don't want legalization. They know that if it's legalized, the price will drop for everybody. Well, how is that a bad thing for our economy? Think of all the extra money in the market economy as well. There's all these things that you can grow, like hempeline. You can grow hempeline. Hemp itself is something that could be rendered down and turned into an additive to diesel. They could make a green diesel that could ultimately lower the cost of diesel for our truck drivers. A hempeline is one of those things that could be grown on our highways and byways around the country, and we could easily create this stuff if we just had a brand new system running on legalization. Legalization would lead to an economic development in our country. But instead, we've got a president who has now just kicked the can down the road. And he's chosen to kick it down the road, ironically, and it's basically left us with nothing. As a country, we're now looking at a debt limit increase, 3 months of time extended out, and no real solutions to any of the real problems facing our country. I'm going to bring up a video here that shows me what is going on at the White House, what's really happening at the White House. And many of you are going to be shocked by what I'm going to show you. But about a year and a half ago, it became obvious that our president was growing, or rather brewing beer. He was actually brewing beer, which is strange. Why would a president be brewing beer? Well, Barack Obama, it became obvious that he's brewing it for personal profit. He's using that money personally, and for some reason, we as a taxpayer are paying for the brewing of this beer. Now, it's like a reveal that I couldn't even believe was going to happen, but I'll play this video for you, and you decide whether you like it or not. It's not the whole video, just parts of it. But you decide what you think here.
We are in the White House kitchen, and we are very excited because we are brewing our second round of White House beer. This round we're actually brewing another honey ale, and we're going to brew a honey porter. Brewing beer is becoming a thing that Americans are doing in their homes and garages across the country. The president certainly thought it'd be a great idea to see if we could join the American people in that time-honored tradition and brew some of our own beer. So we got the recipe from a local brewmaster. Matt Slattery helped us get this going from the Navy Mess. And Charlie Brandt, who actually is our beekeeper, also brews at home, and so gave us some tips. So we adapted.
So they're getting a beekeeper. They are brewing beer. They've got their own honey they're making at the White House area. You know, I understand it'd be great to have an organic garden. It'd be great to have a buffet bar at the White House. But brewing beer, doesn't that kind of imply that we're encouraging alcoholism, which is only going to be detrimental to people's health, ultimately? I'm not saying it's bad. Beer is not necessarily bad for you. Some people believe it is medicinal in nature, but come on, we got a president that can't seem to cut or slash the budget, but he's able to brew beer. Let's take a look at the finished product. I'm going to cut to the chase.
Just put the labels on and pop the top.
So this is the honey ale. The president, inspired by brewmasters brewing in their homes and garages all over the country, wanted to try this out, and so he's paid for all the equipment and all the ingredients, and us chefs have worked on it on our spare time, and it's just become an amazing new tradition here at the White House. There has been a long history with presidents and various alcohols. George Washington had a whiskey distillery, and he brewed beer at Mount Vernon, and Thomas Jefferson grew grapes and made wine at Monticello. But we asked the curators, is there any history of brewing or distilling here at the White House? And so they looked, and it turns out that there was some evidence of drinking during Prohibition, but beyond that, there's no evidence that any beer or liquor has been brewed or distilled. So
Okay, no evidence of a president actually brewing beer ever in our history. So this guy has just taken it upon himself to do the unthinkable: brew beer, drink during the presidency, go on vacation. He's gone on vacation more than any other standing president in our history. Spent more money on his vacations, and even his daughters, Sasha and Malia, have gone on trips to Mexico and Bahamas on the taxpayer dollar. He's brewing beer on the taxpayer's dollar and profiting from it at the White House, mind you. This guy, there's no bounds to this guy, and he won't even legalize marijuana. I mean, seriously, if he isn't the biggest schmoozing black president in the history of mankind anyone could even imagine, and we can't even question his policies, because if we do, we're called racists. I have no problem with a black president. I have no problem with a person who is from African American roots. I think that's awesome. I'm glad that he brewed a dark and a light beer, because it shows some sort of an integrationist mindset. However, he's clearly not an integrationist. He's done nothing to bridge the gap between black and white. He's actually been more divisive than any other president. He's done nothing to stop racial profiling. He's done nothing to actually prevent people in inner cities from joining gangs by providing more opportunity. He's done nothing to create new opportunity in those sectors. But yet he wants to brew his own beer and drink and get drunk on the job. I think this is a classic sign of stupidity. And I think we can blame not only this guy, we can blame the two-party system. You know, this isn't the first time a president has made fun of the two-party system. The presidents of the United States, speaking of famous presidents, of those, George Washington openly stated that a two-party system was going to be detrimental to our country. He was keenly aware of the destructive nature of the parties, of the political parties, and was concerned they would enfeeble public administration. With a myriad of affected agencies and thousands of furloughed federal workers, and this is exactly where the country finds itself today. Yeah, that's the story, folks. Washington basically got it right. And we as a nation have a president who can't even legalize marijuana. Well, I can tell you that I will make it the first priority of my administration to repeal marijuana from the list of controlled substances. Something that a president can do, because basically Richard Nixon did it in 1971, adding it to the list of controlled substances. I can repeal it. There's precedent for this. Other presidents have repealed other things. George W. Bush repealed the Davis-Bacon Act during Katrina in order to prevent federal jobs from going through the roof in terms of cost. And a lot of presidents have done things by executive order that can be established, and I'm sure we can sort out the details of a tax. So I want all of you to remember that this is a pro-legalization party, America's third party, and if you do get behind my campaign for 2016, you'll be ushering in a brand new economic growth potential from the legalization of both hemp and marijuana.